Imagine this. A man reaches his late 50s or 60s, and without any dramatic announcement, without bitterness, without heartbreak, something inside him shifts. Not suddenly, not loudly, but deeply. People around him think he lost interest in women. Some assume he's tired. Others think he's just giving up on love. But the real reason is far more surprising. It's not anger. It's not trauma. It's not the result of one painful breakup. It's something far more powerful, a truth older men discover only after a lifetime of observing how relationships, expectations, and emotional energy truly work. And once this truth hits, a man can't unsee it. Sometimes the biggest change in a man's life isn't triggered by loss, it's triggered by clarity. And that clarity often begins with a feeling every senior man knows but rarely admits. For countless older men, this transformation begins quietly, not with a big emotional moment, but with years of noticing little things, patterns, behaviors, shifts in attitude, moments of disrespect, moments of peace. When you're young, you overlook these things. You tolerate. You give chances. You say, "She didn't mean it," or "Love is supposed to be hard." But age sharpens the mind. Experience trains your instincts. You start realizing what you once thought was normal relationship behavior was actually draining your life force. And for the first time ever, you stop and think, why am I allowing this into my life? Wisdom isn't about knowing more, it's about finally seeing what drains you. And the first thing senior men notice is something they spent decades ignoring. Older men are known for being private. They don't vent on social media. They don't run to their friends with emotional updates. They have endured silently for most of their lives. Career stress, family pressure, societal expectations. So when they start distancing themselves from women, no one notices at first. They say things like, "I'm fine. I'm focusing on myself. I just want peace." But those words are only the surface. Underneath them lies a lifetime of emotional exhaustion. Because deep down, many senior men reach a point where they realize their time is limited, their peace is priceless, and their emotional energy is not something they can waste anymore. As men age, they stop hiding their pain and start protecting their peace. And the first shock women never expect is this: the peace revelation. One of the biggest reasons older men withdraw has nothing to do with relationships failing, and everything to do with what life feels like without drama. For decades, a man is taught to prove himself, pursue, impress, provide, sacrifice, endure. But somewhere after 50, usually after kids are grown or careers settle, or he finally has space to breathe, a man experiences something rare: a quiet day, peaceful mornings, no arguments, no emotional tension, no one questioning him, no one trying to mold him, no one expecting him to perform emotionally or financially. And he realizes, this is what I've been missing. This peace becomes addictive, not because he hates women, but because he loves the version of himself that appears when he isn't drained. Peace becomes the new luxury for a man who spent decades holding the world together. And it's this peace that exposes a second truth senior men discover: the shift in priorities. A young man looks for excitement. A middle-aged man looks for stability. But a senior man, he seeks peace above all else. And as this priority takes over, something incredible happens. He stops needing external validation. He stops chasing approval. He stops trying to win someone's attention. He stops asking, "Am I good enough for her?" He starts asking, "Is she good for my peace? Does she bring calm or chaos? Does she appreciate or expect?" This shift is liberation. It's not giving up, it's leveling up. And once a man starts valuing peace more than temporary affection, he naturally becomes more selective. When a man knows his worth, he focuses on what nourishes him, not what drains him. This leads to one of the biggest emotional truths women rarely understand: why men detach silently. Women often think men don't care because they seem quiet or distant. But older men don't detach out of coldness. They detach because they once cared too deeply. Men love intensely, but they disconnect quietly. No dramatic scenes, no tears, no endless conversations, just a slow turning inward. Why? Because senior men have learned that arguing changes nothing. Explaining themselves changes nothing. Trying harder changes nothing. When something steals a man's peace, he doesn't fight it. He steps away from it, not to hurt anyone, but to protect the last chapters of his life. A senior man's silence isn't emptiness, it's self-respect. And this silence grows louder when a woman does one specific thing: the invisible disrespect. Older men don't just walk away from disrespect, they walk away from the subtle things: the tone, the attitude, the dismissive comments, the constant correcting, the lack of appreciation, the entitlement, the way effort is expected but not reciprocated. Younger men tolerate these things because they fear losing the relationship. But a man in his 50s, 60s, or 70s knows better. He has supported a family, carried responsibilities, survived losses, and grown wiser through mistakes. So when a woman talks down to him, or treats him like he's replaceable, or acts as if his feelings are old-fashioned, he checks out internally, forever. Not with anger, but with clarity. Older men don't demand respect. They simply walk where it exists. And this leads to one of the most misunderstood reasons senior men avoid modern dating: modern expectations versus old-school men. Many older men feel that modern dating has turned into a performance, a constant test they never signed up for. They look around today's dating world and see endless expectations, zero appreciation, transactional attitudes, emotional games, shifting gender roles, confusion instead of connection. They see a world where men must initiate, plan, pay, compliment, be emotionally present, be financially stable, be strong but sensitive, be confident but gentle, be everything at once. And in return, many receive very little. Little softness, little loyalty, little appreciation, little peace. Older men aren't bitter about this. They're tired of it, and they're choosing themselves instead. A man stops chasing when the chase demands more than it offers. But there is another truth women rarely see, yet it changes a man completely: enjoying solitude. There's a stereotype that older men fear being alone, but the reality is opposite. Many older men discover solitude for the first time and fall in love with it. They enjoy sitting in silence, drinking coffee on a peaceful morning, reading without interruption, working on hobbies, watching shows without arguments, having their home exactly how they like it, living without pressure to impress or perform. This solitude becomes a sanctuary. And once a man enjoys solitude, no woman can enter his life unless she enhances that peace. He's not lonely. He's selective. Solitude isn't emptiness, it's healing. And healed men choose wisely. But solitude isn't the only lesson senior men learn. When men stop needing, they stop chasing. There's a powerful shift that happens once a man enters his senior years. He no longer needs a relationship to feel whole. He may want a partner, but he doesn't depend on one. He has built a life. He has routines. He has his own identity that isn't tied to being a husband, a boyfriend, or a provider. He discovers happiness within himself, in freedom, in hobbies, in friendships, in quiet moments. Younger men feel incomplete without someone beside them. Older men realize fulfillment is self-made. This shift makes them far more intentional with their heart. When a man realizes he's enough on his own, he no longer tolerates what isn't good for him. But there's another emotional shift women rarely understand. Men love deeply, but let go quietly. A woman may wonder, why doesn't he chase me anymore? Why is he so distant? Does he even care? But what she doesn't see is the history behind that silence. He once cared too much. He once chased. He once gave and gave until he had nothing left for himself. Now he knows better. Older men are not cold. They are cautious. They guard their hearts because that heart has scars. He isn't afraid of loving. He's afraid of loving someone who doesn't respect what he gives. The quietest men often carry the loudest stories in their hearts. And nothing changes a man faster than this next realization. The self-respect revolution. Throughout life, men are trained to endure. Take it. Handle it. Don't complain. Be the rock. But with age comes one of the greatest awakenings. Self-respect is more valuable than approval. Older men learn to say no, set boundaries, walk away, demand mutual effort, protect their peace, choose reciprocity over sacrifice. He stops asking, "What will she think if I leave?" and starts asking, "What will happen to me if I stay?" That's emotional maturity at its peak. When a man finally respects himself, he stops entertaining what disrespects him. And this self-respect applies not only to emotions, but finances too. The financial reality check. A man in his 60s has worked decades to build stability, sweat, responsibility, risk, sacrifice. So when he senses someone values his wallet more than his heart, something inside him shuts off instantly. Because at this age, he protects his retirement. He guards his assets. He knows money isn't infinite anymore. If he feels used even slightly, he disconnects. Not angrily, just permanently. Older men don't want to be someone's safety net. They want to be someone's partner. Senior men don't fear giving. They fear being taken for granted. And because they understand their own worth, something else becomes clear. Older men see relationship imbalance. Modern dating often feels like a never-ending exam for men. He must prove he is worthy. First message, first move, first plan, first payment, first apology. Meanwhile, some women believe their mere presence is enough. Older men live through decades of proving themselves, and they are simply done performing. Here's the silent emotional equation senior men calculate. If effort is one-sided, love will be one-sided. And they refuse that equation. When a man sees imbalance, he doesn't complain, he exits. And there's a deeper spiritual reason behind that exit, the spiritual shift. As men age, their priorities change dramatically. They reflect more. They think about legacy, purpose, peace. They realize arguing destroys health, drama steals time, conflict shortens life. Things that mattered at 30 lose all importance at 60. What becomes priceless? A peaceful home, a quiet mind, a partner who supports his inner calm, not noise, not chaos, not constant emotional test. At this stage in life, serenity is greater than passion. Older men don't resist love, they resist anything that damages their inner peace. And peace isn't the only treasure age teaches them to protect emotional maturity and boundaries. Younger men crave attention. Older men crave emotional intelligence. If a woman argues to win, not to understand, he withdraws. If she uses guilt instead of communication, he distances. If she brings storms instead of clarity, he closes off. He has learned silence is better than shouting. Distance is better than disrespect. Walking away is better than suffering. Because emotional games are for people with time to waste, and older men do not. Boundaries are a man's shield when love becomes painful, but boundaries create something else. A skill younger men rarely master. Emotional, self-sufficient. Once upon a time, he needed someone to listen, to comfort him, to complete him. Now, he becomes his own peace. He finds emotional strength through nature, music, purposeful work, spirituality, personal routines, time with true friends, enjoying simple pleasures alone. He no longer asks someone else to fix him. He has healed his wounds himself. And when a man doesn't need emotional support, he becomes extremely selective about who gets access to his heart. A man who is content alone will never settle for someone who makes him feel alone. And that leads to perhaps the most shocking realization of all. Love should feel like rest, not work. Older men refuse relationships that feel like a job. Performing emotionally, performing financially, performing romantically, performing socially, they have carried society's expectations their entire lives. Now they want ease, laughter, comfort, a partner, not a supervisor, acceptance, not criticism, company that feels like home. If he has to constantly try to be good enough, he simply stops trying. Because at this point in life, love should be a reward, not a responsibility. If love drains a man, he'll choose freedom every time. But the deepest transformation happens when he learns this next truth. By the time a man enters his senior years, something profound happens. He stops trying to change anyone. He stops trying to prove anything. He stops trying to earn love from people who don't value it. Instead, he begins to observe who brings calm, who brings chaos, who appreciates, who expects, who listens, who dismisses. He recognizes things he used to ignore, and he honors needs he used to sacrifice. Not because he's jaded, not because he's broken, but because he finally understands himself. A man's greatest evolution is the moment he chooses peace over approval. And with this new clarity, he sees modern relationships in a new light. Older men see what they once overlooked. When men are young, they are driven by attraction, desire, chemistry, and the excitement of romance. But with age comes a new filter, a spiritual one. Older men can sense energy, intention, respect, emotional safety, mutual effort, presence, softness, genuine feminine warmth. They can also sense entitlement, disrespect, hidden agendas, manipulation, inconsistency, drama wrapped in affection, love that comes with conditions. Where a younger man might fall for beauty, an older man falls for peace. Because he finally understands that a beautiful face can soothe the eyes, but only peace can soothe the soul. What men find attractive changes. What they find peaceful never does. And that takes us deeper into one of the most misunderstood truths. The loneliness myth. Society tells men, you'll be lonely without a woman. But older men discover something surprising. Being alone is not loneliness. Being misunderstood is loneliness. Being unappreciated is loneliness. Being in the wrong relationship is loneliness. A man who chooses solitude is not afraid of it. He's experienced worse inside relationships where he wasn't seen or valued. So he chooses quiet over chaos, freedom over frustration, self-respect over silent suffering. He chooses a life where he answers to his own peace, not someone else's mood swings. A peaceful man is never truly alone. He carries his own companionship. But solitude is not the only insight age brings. The end of emotional obligation. Older men stop tolerating relationships that feel like emotional chores. They don't want to constantly reassure, constantly prove, constantly apologize, constantly fix someone's insecurities, constantly walk on eggshells, constantly earn affection that should be freely given. He's done with emotional labor disguised as love. At this age, he wants something rare, a connection where he feels chosen, not obligated, a connection where both give not just one, a connection where he can rest, not perform. Older men no longer love out of duty, they love out of desire. And this clarity leads to a quiet, powerful change in how they approach women. The selective heart. Once a man reaches emotional maturity, his heart becomes incredibly selective. Not because he's picky, not because he's arrogant, but because he knows what it costs to give his heart to the wrong person. He knows how it feels to be drained. He knows how it feels to be used. He knows how it feels to give more than he receives. He knows how it feels to stay too long in the wrong relationship. So now, he observes before opening up. He evaluates before committing. He chooses based on peace, not pressure. And most importantly, he refuses anything that threatens the stability he fought decades to build. A man who knows his worth treats his heart like a treasure, not a tool. And that takes us into an even deeper truth about aging. Age makes men visible to themselves. Throughout life, men are often defined by roles: the provider, the protector, the fixer, the father, the partner, the worker, the problem solver. But as he ages, he meets himself again, not as a role, but as a human. He sees his own needs, his own vulnerabilities, his own boundaries, his own worth, his own emotional limits, his own dreams for the years he has left. For the first time, he asks questions he never asked before. What do I want? What brings me joy? What kind of energy do I allow in my life? Who deserves access to me? These questions reshape everything. Older men stop living for others and start living with intention. And once he begins living with intention, his standards evolve. Love without peace is no longer love. In youth, men chase love with passion. In midlife, they chase love with responsibility. But in later years, men chase love only if it brings peace. Passion without peace? Not worth it. Beauty without peace? Temporary. Romance without respect? Exhausting. A relationship that drains him emotionally, financially, or spiritually? He won't even entertain it. At his age, love must feel like warmth, comfort, appreciation, mutual support, softness, lightness, home. Not tension, not confusion, not conflict, not pressure. If love doesn't feel calm, it's not love, not for a man who has lived long enough to know better. And that brings us to the heart of the entire truth, the final revelation. Senior men don't stop caring about women. Not at all. In fact, they care more deeply and more intentionally than ever before. They stop caring about drama, disrespect, entitlement, manipulation, power games, constant test, unbalanced effort, love that feels like work, relationships driven by expectations, not appreciation. They stop caring about women who drain them. They stop caring about women who don't reciprocate. They stop caring about women who confuse being difficult with being desirable. But they never stop caring about the right woman. A woman who brings calm, kindness, loyalty, warmth, softness, appreciation, understanding, respect, presence, true partnership. That woman, he will cherish, he will protect, he will choose, again and again. Men don't lose interest in women. They lose interest in chaos. But the evolution doesn't stop there. The unexpected power of walking away. Perhaps the most surprising transformation in senior men is this. They are no longer afraid to walk away. No guilt, no shame, no second guessing, no chasing. Just a simple truth. If it costs my peace, it's too expensive. And when a man reaches this level of emotional maturity, he becomes unstoppable. He doesn't argue. He doesn't beg. He doesn't fight for a place in someone's life. He simply walks toward the version of life that feels peaceful, with or without a woman beside him, because he finally understands Peace is love. Peace is freedom. Peace is health. Peace is wisdom. Peace is the reward for surviving life's storms. A man who chooses peace becomes the strongest version of himself. And that leads to the closing message every senior man deserves to hear: the legacy of a senior man. Older men are not cold. They are seasoned, not distant, just discerning, not uninterested, just intentional. They've lived enough life to know what matters. They know the value they bring: stability, loyalty, wisdom, protection, experience, mature love, emotional steadiness, depth, calm leadership. They are not chasing anymore, but they are open to the right woman, the right energy, the right connection. And they now have the courage to walk away from anything that threatens their peace. A senior man's heart is not closed, it's protected. And that protection is the reason so many men over 50 stop caring about the wrong women so they can save themselves for the right one.